Election year, election season, midterm voting is underway in West Virginia and Nebraska. Both are considered deep red states, which means that tonight's GOP primary winners will likely be voted into office, and some of them heading to Congress. What is that going to tell us about where the Republican Party is heading? ABC News political director Rick Klein knows the score on all these races. He joins us now live from our touch screen with Rick's picks and what to watch tonight. So, Rick, the first race we want to dive into today, you've got those two current GOP members of Congress running against each other, David McKinley and Alex Mooney. They got to run against each other because West Virginia lost a congressional district in the census. And in a weird way, it's Manchin versus MAGA, pitting the Democratic senator of West Virginia against Team Trump. So, why is it cast this way? Who are they? What do you make of this race?
Sure, Terry. Here's what we're looking at if we move over to our map. Take a look at what's happened in West Virginia. As you mentioned, they lost about 60,000 residents in the last decade. That means they're losing a congressional seat. So you have these three people in the delegation, and two of them have to run against each other. Dave McKinley, who represents the northern part of the state, and Alex Mooney here in the central part of the state. Now they are both running in this newly created 2nd congressional district. And as you mentioned, Alex Mooney got Trump endorsement. Dave McKinley has the Joe Manchin endorsement, and that matters a lot in West Virginia because this is just fascinating. You got to take a look at this. Look at the election of 2020. We know that Trump absolutely romped in West Virginia, wins by almost 70% of the vote. Meanwhile, Joe Manchin, eking by a few years earlier with about 50% of the vote. So yes, West Virginia is Trump country. It is also Joe Manchin country. And if you look at what's voting right here today, that new district that the two congressmen are going up against in, a lot of bluer areas. Even in West Virginia, there are still places where a Democrat can win. We're talking about a Republican here, but a Republican who voted for the infrastructure bill, for the bipartisan commission to investigate January 6th. So these two titans putting themselves on the line through their proxies.
That is really interesting. MAGA versus Manchin, Trump's endorsement versus Joe Manchin's in West Virginia. He's very popular as governor before, so he's got some clout for sure. Turning now, let's go to the Cornhusker state. That's Nebraska, of course. You got three frontrunners in the GOP gubernatorial race there. The Trump-backed candidate Charles Herbster, but he's been accused of sexually assaulting multiple women, charge he denies. So the Trump endorsement, it's golden in a lot of places, but with this fellow with these problems, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a jump ball, Terry. And look, as we mentioned, Nebraska, a red state. As you can see, Donald Trump just absolutely swept the state, except for a couple of pockets over on the eastern half. So, yes, Trump has endorsed. Charles Herbster has his issues. He, by the way, appeared with the Trump family on January 6th as an endorser of the so-called big lie, the lies about the last election. He's got now a spirited three-way primary challenge. And there's a lot of buzz around Brett Lindstrom, who's a state lawmaker. And by the way, take a look at this eastern part of the state. That's where I'm going to be looking tonight. That's where the Democrats that exist in Nebraska live, and we've heard thousands of them switching their party allegiance specifically to vote in the Republican primary. The thought is that they are doing so to particularly try to stop Herbster and boost Brett Lindstrom. If they're successful, they'd be stopping Trump in one of the reddest states in the country.
Yeah, you mentioned the big lie there, Rick, that this claim that Trump has that the last election was stolen, despite it was certified by 50 states and confirmed by 60 courts, et cetera. But I wonder, the Republicans are riding high right now. Biden looks very weak. The Democrats seem at ends. What do they really stand for? And I wonder is there any sense the Republican Party won't abandon Trump, but might put that issue that everyone has to say the race was stolen in 2020 behind them because they got the wind in their sails on so many other issues?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, Terry, that's exactly what's on the ballot in states like West Virginia and Nebraska. They're almost certainly going to be sending more Republicans to Congress again next year, as they've want to do. But as you see in this closely divided Congress, Democrats can only lose 3 seats. So we're not going to learn a lot about whether that's going to happen. We are going to learn, though, about what the makeup of the Republican side looks like. Our friends at 538 have done the math. They have found 9 candidates for House or governor who endorsed the lies about the last election. They would be in a position potentially to act on the things that Donald Trump wanted done last time around. That is in large measure why these red state primaries are going to matter quite a bit. And Terry, while I have the floor, I know in the past you've delighted at trying to stump me in the past. We're actually going to turn the tables a little bit. I'm pretty sure this is because my mom has complained so much about Stump Rick. It's called Stump Terry. And I've got a question for you. Are you ready, my friend?
All right. You know so much more than I do about politics, but fire away.
All right. Well, we'll see what you got on this one. So,
all right.
The last Democrat to win the state of West Virginia was Bill Clinton. He actually did it so twice in both of his runs for the presidency in '92 and '96. Maybe not a surprise, being from a redder state. Before Bill Clinton, who was the last Democrat to carry West Virginia in the race for the White House?
Well, I'm going to say that was Jimmy Carter.
I want to buzz. Oh, there's that buzz. The answer is Michael Dukakis.
I was thinking of Dukakis.
And Terry, it's easy to forget how red, now that West Virginia is as red as it is, how it used to be a very reliably blue state at the presidential level. Until last year even, till 2021, Democrats actually had a registration advantage in West Virginia. It seems like a distant memory these days, but Michael Dukakis didn't win a lot of states, but he won West Virginia in '88. That
shows how democratic it was there. You stumped me, Rick Klein. I'll get you back. Thanks very much,
Thanks,
my
Terry.
friend. All righty. We're going to bring you those election results, really from across West Virginia and Nebraska, as we've said, two really important states for a lot of issues. You can see them starting tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on ABC News Live Prime with Lindsay Davis.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.